Some semi-trucks were built to work. Others were built to make history. Rare, brutal, highly customized machines that seem to challenge everything we know about heavy-duty transportation. But just how far can exclusivity go when enthusiasts and passion come together in the same project? In today's video, you're about to see semi-trucks that stand out for their looks, power, luxury, and absolutely unbelievable custom builds. These are machines that grab attention not just because of their size, but because of the unique identity they carry in every detail. And as the list goes on, the insanity only gets bigger. So stay with me until the end, because the last truck in this lineup is so outrageous, it looks like it came from another planet. Kenworth Flat Glass W900A. The Kenworth Flat Glass W900A is one of those trucks that never goes unnoticed for even a second. Built by Kenworth in the United States, this style became famous for its flat windshield, long hood, and classic cab that turned into a benchmark among fans of old-school semi-trucks. Many of these trucks stepped away from pure heavy-duty work and became the foundation for high-end custom builds made to impress just as much as they perform. Just like this customized version, finished in a deep blue paint job that gives it an exclusive look and a much more refined presence than an ordinary highway rig. The long frame stretches the whole truck out even more, creating that elegant silhouette that gives it true show truck presence. Mechanically, this lineage usually came with Cummins or Caterpillar engines, most often an inline-six with over 12 liters of displacement, and somewhere between 350 and over 400 horsepower, always backed by massive torque for hauling with authority. The transmission was usually a manual with multiple gears, delivering that raw, traditional driving feel that fits this Kenworth perfectly. But the real charm is in the complete package. Polished tanks, vertical stacks, the way the cab lines up with the trailer, and the stretched frame all turn this truck into a rolling showcase. It's the kind of project where the full custom work can easily go into the tens of thousands of dollars, and on the most detailed builds it can climb past $100,000 depending on the level of finish. In practice, it was born for heavy hauling, but in builds like this, it also becomes a symbol of status, personal pride, and a true display piece. A lot of owners build trucks like this not just to work, but to create something unique, something with a personal signature and a presence that cannot be copied. That's exactly why the Kenworth Flat Glass W900A fully earns its place on this list. It brings together tradition, strength, style, and a level of customization that turns a highway classic into a truly exclusive machine. And if this one already commands respect from a distance, the next one proves that things can always go even further. International Lonestar Harley-Davidson. The International Lonestar Harley-Davidson is the kind of truck that makes any road enthusiast stop immediately and think, this can't be real. It started with the International Lonestar, a model that already stood out with its rounded front end and a look that almost feels like a giant hot rod. But this build went much further. Instead of being just another factory-built highway truck, it took on an identity inspired by the Harley-Davidson world and became a machine that feels like a one-of-a-kind piece. And that changes everything. Because we're not talking about some standard catalog truck built by the thousands. Everything about this setup suggests something much closer to an extremely limited special edition, where even an exclusive project developed with total focus on image, presence, and visual impact. This wasn't a rig built just to work. It was built to be remembered. Under the hood, the Lonestar usually came with an inline-six Cummins engine, with options reaching close to 15 liters and power in the range of 500 to 600 horsepower. The transmission could be either an automated manual or a traditional manual, always delivering strong torque and smooth power for long-distance hauling. It was a seriously capable truck, but in this case, performance had to share the spotlight with something even rarer: personality. The black and silver paint, cut with orange accents, throws this truck straight into the Harley-Davidson visual universe. The chrome spread across the cab, the bold grille, the tall stacks, and the ultra-clean finish make it feel less like a semi-truck and more like a giant rolling jewel. It's the kind of machine that looks like it's already on parade, even when it's standing still. In practice, it was still fully road ready, but a truck like this was clearly carrying another purpose too, to represent style, exclusivity, and a level of customization that very few people would even dare to pay for. On projects like this, the investment can rise fast, with the finish and custom work pushing the total cost far beyond a normal Lonestar. That's why the international Lonestar Harley-Davidson lands on this list as true madness on wheels. A truck that blends power, design, and custom culture in such an unusual way that it feels like it was built more to impress the world than simply cross highways. And if this one already feels insane, the next one shows that exclusivity can get even more extreme. (1968) Kenworth W925A. The 1968 Kenworth W925A is already, by nature, a respected name among American classics. But this particular example was pushed to a level of exclusivity that borders on absurd. The pearl white body makes that clear right away, because this kind of paint is extremely difficult to execute, expensive to do, and demands a level of preparation that doesn't belong on an ordinary project. It's the kind of finish that turns a truck into jewelry. But the boldness doesn't stop there. The stretched frame, painted metallic green, completely changes the truck's stance and gives it a much more noble, longer, and more striking presence. Even the engine follows that same identity, with the block painted metallic green as well, electronic tuning, and a larger-than-stock turbo, showing that this build was never just about appearance. There was a clear intention to add more personality, more response, and a stronger mechanical signature to the project. At its core, this Kenworth line could come with Cummins, Caterpillar, or Detroit diesel engines, with options ranging from inline sixes to even V8 setups. Always with big displacement, strong torque, and a manual transmission with multiple gears. But in a build like this, the mechanical base almost becomes a stage for the custom work to shine. The mirror finish chrome details push the truck to another level, and the full caramel leather interior completes the package with a sophistication that few people would expect to find inside a ring from that era. In practice, it was born for heavy hauling, but at this level, it stops being just a truck and becomes a prestige piece, the owner's absolute pride, and a benchmark among fans of custom semi-trucks. This is exactly the kind of machine that represents the theme of this video perfectly, because it takes an already imposing classic and turns it into something so refined, rare, and over the top that the most natural reaction is just one thing: this is crazy. Western Star 5700 XE Optimus Prime Custom. This Western Star 5700 XE Optimus Prime Custom doesn't stand out just because of the way it looks. The story behind it is what makes everything even more unbelievable. In 2016, Joe Fiducia, a 36-year-old father from Pennsylvania with no mechanical training, decided to build the world's first life-size fan-made Optimus Prime truck. And he didn't do it for attention, he did it to inspire his own son and prove in real life that even a crazy idea can become reality when there's real dedication behind it. The base truck was a Western Star 5700 XE, a modern American semi that already carries a strong presence from the factory. This line normally comes with an inline-six Detroit engine, high displacement, plenty of power, and a really sleeper cab for long hauls. The mechanical side took a back seat compared to the size of the transformation. With a long wheelbase, custom-made details, and a total weight of around 9,500 kilograms, this project moved past simple customization and entered the territory of obsession done right. The biggest shock is the way this truck was turned into such a convincing replica of the most famous character in the Transformers franchise. The blue and red paint with flames, the proportions of the cab, the custom finishes, and the almost cinematic presence make it look like it rolled straight out of a movie set. Inside, the interior stays more classic, simple, and functional. But But on the outside, the craftsmanship is so impressive that this truck has already won awards and become a reference point in the world of extreme custom builds. In practice, it's still a real working truck, but it was clearly built for something bigger than simply driving down the road. It became a one-of-a-kind piece, a symbol of passion, and living proof that a fan-built project can reach a level respected even by specialized custom shops. And once you add up the labor, the custom-made parts, the finishing work, and the full transformation, the value of this truck rises into a truly staggering range. If these trucks are already surprising you by this point, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell, because from here on out, the list only gets more outrageous. Now, stay right here with me, because this is exactly the kind of machine that makes anyone stop, look twice, and think, this isn't customization. This is madness on wheels. Freightliner Classic XL. The Freightliner Classic XL was already born with the kind of look that commands respect on the highway. But this particular truck was taken to a level that turns work into a personal signature. The deep red paint with cream accents gives the truck a rare elegance, almost like a collector's piece, while the long stacks, stretched frame, and reworked front end show that nothing here was rushed or improvised. This was a project built to get attention the right way. Built by Freightliner in the United States, the Classic XL became known for combining a long hood, a spacious cab, and the strong presence of a traditional highway tractor. Mechanically, this line could come with Detroit diesel, Caterpillar, or Cummins engines, usually inline sixes with lots of displacement, abundant torque, and either a manual or automated transmission, always focused on long-distance hauling and serious heavy-duty work. It was a brute built to rack up miles and handle real service. But what makes this one even more special is the story behind the custom work. The owner customized the truck himself without taking away its main purpose as a work truck. In other words, this isn't a semi built only for events. It's a machine that still gets used day after day. Even with a fully customized interior, heavy chrome details, and a front grille reworked to give the whole truck an even more exclusive identity. That's exactly what makes it so impressive, because it combines the beauty of a show truck with the real life of the road. In practice, this Freightliner became more than just a working tool. It became the owner's calling card, a source of pride, and one of those trucks that gets comments everywhere it stops. And even the owner says that every time he parks, someone comes up to compliment the truck. This is the kind of project that proves something very simple. When passion and work go hand in hand, even a daily driver can become a memorable machine. And if this one already turns heads everywhere it goes, the next one may raise the level of insanity even higher. Iveco S-Way Metallica. The Iveco S-Way Metallica is one of those projects that feels legendary from the moment it exists. In 2024, it followed Metallica across Europe during the M72 tour, hauling structure, attitude, and presence for one of the heaviest and most iconic bands on the planet. And that alone already puts this truck on another level, because we're not talking about a simple promotional wrap, but a partnership that turned a modern rig into a symbol of both the highway and the stage. Based on the Iveco S-Way, this semi already starts with a current, powerful platform built for long-distance hauling. The line usually runs an inline-six engine with high displacement, plenty of pull-in power, and an automated transmission designed for comfort and efficiency on heavy trips. But here, the mechanical side shares space with something even rarer: identity. This truck was built to represent a band that built an empire on weight, presence, and impact, so it had to transmit exactly that. The custom design makes everything else happen. The darkened look combined with artwork inspired by the Metallica universe turns the cab into a true album cover on wheels. This is not a truck that goes unnoticed, and it doesn't even try to be subtle. It was built to impose presence, to be recognized from a distance, and to carry the same aggressive energy the band unleashes on stage. It's an exclusive, bold project with a visual signature that makes sense from beginning to end. In practice, it carries far more than cargo. It carries image, concept, and the strength of a partnership that united the weight of rock with the weight of the road. That's why the Iveco S-Way Metallica lands on this list as a machine that blends touring, spectacle, and heavy transportation in a way few people would ever imagine seeing. It's the kind of truck that proves when two giant brands come together, the result can be simply insane. Kenworth W900L, never satisfied. The Kenworth W900L, never satisfied, is the kind of truck that seems to have been built with one mission only: never go unnoticed. The base is a 2008 W900L, a model that already commands respect by nature. But this example was pushed to an almost extreme level. It first came to life in the hands of J&L Contracting, with help from Davis Bros, and later received the finishing touch of Casey Connery from AN Transport, until it reached its current form, which feels more like a work of obsession than just a semi-truck. The vibrant red paint with white details makes it clear right away that there is no room for subtlety here. The stretched frame, extra rear axle, chrome spread across nearly the entire truck, large diameter stacks, and a grille built from scratch show that almost everything was reworked over the years. That is exactly what makes this truck so impressive, because it was not customized all at once. It was refined little by little, as if each stage made it even more expensive, rarer, and more insane. Mechanically, the W900L usually runs Cummins or Caterpillar engines, generally inline sixes with huge displacement, and either a manual or automated transmission for heavy-duty work. But in this case, the mechanical side also received upgrades, proving that this is not a truck that lives on looks alone. The air suspension helps give the truck presence, stance, and finish, while the neon lighting and hidden details push the exclusivity even further. In practice, it has already crossed the line between highway brute and signature piece. It's an award-winning truck, absurdly expensive, and packed with so many custom details that a lot of them go unnoticed at first glance. And maybe that's exactly what makes Never Satisfied so fascinating. The more you look at it, the more you realize it was built to impress without asking permission. If this isn't madness on wheels, it's hard to imagine what would be. Kenworth T680 Signature Edition. The Kenworth T680 Signature Edition shows how even a modern, aerodynamic truck can enter the world of exclusivity without relying on over-the-top excess. The idea here is not to look like an old-school show brute, but to deliver heavy-duty sophistication with executive presence. This special edition takes the T680 platform and turns it into something rarer, more refined, and far more striking than an ordinary fleet tractor. Built by Kenworth in the United States, the T680 became known for combining highway efficiency, a spacious cab, and a cleaner, more advanced design. In this signature edition, the dark finish with subtle red lines creates an elegant and almost intimidating identity, as if the truck were built for someone who wants luxury without giving up seriousness. It's a more restrained kind of exclusivity. But that's exactly what makes it feel even more premium. Mechanically, this example delivers 510 horsepower, usually coming from an inline-six engine with plenty of strength for heavy hauling and long-distance travel. The automated transmission, spacious sleeper cab, and comfort-focused setup show that it was built to cover miles with performance and smoothness. But the biggest charm is in the visual package, because everything about it seems designed to communicate status, precision, and high-end finish. In practice, the Kenworth T680 Signature Edition is still a working truck, but with the aura of a special edition for someone who wants something above the standard. It's the kind of machine that doesn't shout exclusivity. It simply makes it clear in every detail. And in a world full of loud, flashy custom builds, sometimes it's exactly this quieter kind of luxury that makes a truck feel even more exclusive. Peterbilt 389 Fuel Hauler. This 2019 Peterbilt 389 is the kind of project that makes one thing very clear. For some owners, perfection has no limit, and certainly no price tag. Freshly built at Amcan Truck Parts and Total Appearance in Wisconsin, it was designed to be striking from the tractor all the way to the trailer. And it's no surprise that it grabbed so much attention that it earned a feature in 10-4 magazine after the 2023 Truck Fest. It's the kind of rig that already looks like a cover truck from birth. The Ferrari red paint puts this Peterbilt on another level at first glance. But what's even more impressive is realizing that this is not just about a strong color. It's about a project carried out with obsession for detail. The hand-done striping by a renowned professional, the stretched and reinforced frame, the extreme care with visual alignment, and even the inside of the wheels painted in the same color as the frame show that nothing here was left to chance. It's a level of perfection that a lot of people don't even notice at first, but it changes everything in the final result. The 389 already starts with one of the most respected foundations in American heavy hauling. Usually with Cummins or Caterpillar engines, an inline-six, big displacement, strong torque, and a transmission built for serious work. But this example also received engine work to give it a presence you can hear, while the air suspension helps create that low, refined stance that elevates the whole package even more. Add to that the fine polishing on every chrome piece, including the tank, and the result is a truck that seems built to reflect light from every inch. In practice, it's still a fuel hauler, but at this level it stops being just a work machine and becomes a rolling showcase of perfectionism. The cost of the build and finish is absurdly high, but that never seemed to matter to the owner. There was only one goal here: build something flawless, and that goal was achieved. Because this Peterbilt doesn't impress only with its size or color. It impresses because it feels like it was pushed to the absolute limit of what a custom semi-truck can become. Peterbilt 359. The Peterbilt 359 is already one of the great icons of old-school American trucking. But this example was pushed into territory that very few people would even imagine trying. After buying the truck, this young YouTuber decided to turn the project into something extreme and ended up creating one of the longest wheelbase Peterbilts in the United States. We're talking about more than 400 inches of wheelbase, a number that by itself already makes this rig feel almost unreal. But the most impressive part is that he didn't rely only on the outrageous size. The project was built with a clean, refined, and very well thought out aesthetic, showing that the goal was not just to grab attention, but to build a truck with elite level presence. The combination of the white body and the deep blue details creates an elegant look, while the absurdly long frame completely changes the truck's stance and gives this Peterbilt a silhouette that seems endless. Mechanically, the 359 lineage has always been respected for carrying big engines, usually Cummins, Caterpillar, or Detroit diesel, with lots of displacement, heavy torque, and a manual transmission with multiple gears. But here the mechanical side almost has to share the stage with the boldness of the project itself. Because stretching the truck to this degree, while keeping the proportions, finish, and presence intact, demands much more than taste. It takes money, planning, and the willingness to back an idea that far outside the box. And according to the owner himself, a fortune has already been invested, even though he still doesn't consider the project finished. This Peterbilt stopped being just a beautiful classic and became a personal signature and an instant attraction anywhere it appears. And maybe the most insane detail is exactly that. Even after spending a fortune and creating one of the wildest projects in the country, the owner still says he wants to make the truck even cooler. That's exactly the kind of mindset that creates truly unique machines, the kind that makes any semi-truck fan look at it and think the limit simply no longer exists. Throughout this video, we saw that some semi-trucks go far beyond the job of pulling freight. These are machines that mix power, finish, identity, and a level of customization that turns hard work into true rolling art. And that's exactly what makes this world so fascinating. These machines are not just big, powerful, or expensive. They carry history, personality, and the vision of owners who refuse to settle for ordinary. Every detail, every reworked part, every exclusive paint job, and every inch of stretched frame shows that in this world, exclusivity is not just luxury. It's obsession, pride, and passion turned into steel, engines, and highway presence. Now I want to hear your opinion. Which of these trucks impressed you the most? Which one would you want in your garage purely for its exclusivity? And which project did you think was the wildest, the most beautiful, or the most unbelievable of them all? Leave your answer down in the comments, because I really want to know which of these machines earned your respect. And of course, if you enjoy this kind of content, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell. That really helps the channel grow, because it tells YouTube that this content matters. And that helps the platform show our videos to more people, because every week there's a new video here about the most impressive trucks, machines, and projects rolling on roads around the world. See you in the next video.